Okay, so I'm going to show you some basic tips to start drawing your photos on your paper. When you are drawing from a reference photo, make sure you are looking at your reference photo. So this should be pulled up either on your phone or maybe your device while you are drawing. And I'm going to start with this drawing of my toaster in this box here. So when you are sketching, as a reminder, make sure that you are using your HB pencil so that way you do not get any ghost lines. And we are just going to be lightly sketching some of our primary contour lines first and then adding value. So looking at my toaster photo, I'm going to start with some of the big, really easy to kind of identify lines and shapes that I'm seeing. So I am just trying to kind of replicate these angles and proportions in my drawing. So one thing that I find helpful is, like, if I'm looking at this line that I see here, I am going to try and kind of find that on my box where it enters my frame, and then replicate where it exits. And I'm going to do a quick check kind of with my fingers. So it's about that far from the edge, and that's about a third if I'm measuring correctly. It's a little bit too far over, so I'm going to move it a little more over to the right, and then grab my eraser and erase my extra line that I don't need. Okay, so I have that line. Let's see here. I'm going to draw this kind of rectangle shape next. So I notice that it comes basically almost out of the kind of top corner of my page and angles just slightly, and then angles slightly in. And again, I'm sketching really, really light with my pencil so that way I can erase anything. Now this angle is rather extreme. A trick that you can use is lay your pencil on your device like this and then lay it on your paper like that to kind of visualize and then replicate that same angle. And then you can go back and check. That's my angle. A little bit more acute, and erase what I don't need. Okay, and I'm going to round my corners because they're round, not pointed. Next, I'm going to kind of work on this part here. So that looks like kind of about that. There. And it's really hard to tell, but the bottom of my toaster is actually sitting on my counter right here. It's a really dark value, but I'm just going to sketch that in for future me so I can keep drawing my toaster. Okay, so lightly sketch with your pencil. Use your pencil to find angles, like I can check this angle right here, that's pretty good. And then also use your fingers to find proportions. I'm going to do a time lapse of the rest of the sketching and drawing and the details of this, and then come back and show you how to add value. Okay, I'm back. I finished sketching in the majority of my lines and shapes from my reference photo, and what we are going to be looking for now when we start to add value are gradations and differences in value. So the reason why we can see different edges on shapes is because there is a difference in value. So if you think back to the value scale that we did, that was the stepped gradation. When we can see an edge, it is not because there is a black line around something, it's because there is a difference in value. So I can see that there's this shadow here and a lighter value here. Over here, I can see that this is a darker gray next to a really light gray. There's differences in values, and there's also gradation on anything with value. So looking for those two things, I'm going to start shading. Remember to layer your pencil, so I'm going to work first on this gradation here. Shading first with my HB pencil. Something in there. There we go. Shading first with my HB pencil, remembering to have good craftsmanship. And as I kind of reach this reflective highlight on my toaster, I'm going to lighten pressure and do less layers, and then do an opposite gradation, working my way down the toaster. Taking my time. Value projects takes time and a lot of patience. And again, since I'm trying to shade lightly with my pencil, I'm holding it more towards the back and flatter to my paper. Okay, so I have a pretty decent HB base layer right now. I'm going to keep layering my pencils and pushing my values. Remember, we want that full range of value on our objects. So 2B pencil is next. And I noticed that that highlight is kind of at an angle, and so I'm going to try and angle my highlight also. So one of the biggest things that I tell kids when they are doing a value project is to push your values. And what that means is just add more contrast. Because sometimes we can be tempted just to put like a really light layer of value on something, and we are missing all of those really nice gradations and shifts from one value to the next. So push your values, get that full range of value, not just the really, really light values next to the really, really dark values. Okay, I'm going to keep going on this drawing and do a time lapse. Okay, so my drawing is done. I just wanted to come back and do a regular video at the very end because I realized the time lapse for whatever reason kind of squishes everything and is a little bit blurry. So capturing gradations, edges, value changes. I drew the hole kind of like inside of the toaster part that holds your toast, which you can't see here on my reference photo, but that's in there. So finished drawing, the end.